Greetings, fellow Saiyans and Saiyanettes, it's Corey from Super Kami Guru 9000, and it's time for a Dragon Ball Super discussion. Today we're going to be talking about Jiren, the most powerful warrior from Universe 11 and the ultimate obstacle for Goku and his friends in the Tournament of Power. Now, while Jiren is pretty freaking awesome, I have to admit, his backstory kind of sucks. So enjoy this discussion set to some of my gameplay to the newest Dragon Ball game, Dragon Ball FighterZ. And of course, make sure to sound off in the comments section below telling me what you think about Jiren, his backstory, and his overall character in Dragon Ball Super. All good things must come to an end, and boys and girls, it is finally here. The final battle with Jiren, the ultimate contender for Goku and his friends. I honestly didn't think it was going to end any other way. I think the hype for Jiren has been through the roof. He's easily the most powerful character that we have seen in the entire series. He has also been the subject of much debate. Where did he come from? How did he gain this amazing power? And we finally got our answer in the most recent episode of Dragon Ball Super. And to be perfectly honest with you, I am disappointed. I just wanted so much more from this character. Now, the Dragon Ball series has never had the deepest characterization, and a lot of times the motives of the villains can be very simple. Take Zamasu and Goku Black, for example. Yet, we still knew so much more about them. Their overall concept, being a corrupted god, was interesting enough. Jiren's basically just a really buff and super strong alien with no distinguishing characteristics. I mean, honestly, take a look at Jiren's abilities. What can he do? Well, he's super strong. Check that one off the list. He can shoot ki blasts. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Even Yamcha can pull that off. And that's about it. I mean, really, there isn't that much unique to Jiren. He doesn't really have any techniques which you can call his own. Yes, superficially, his ki blasts have their very own color, and he might even say something completely different when he does them, but there's really nothing to set him apart from the rest of the characters in the Dragon Ball series, aside from, again, the fact that he's incredibly strong, even more so than a god of destruction. And like I said, getting to learn how he got this strong could have been a really interesting story, but ultimately, it just led to one of the most cliched backstories that you see in a ton of other anime series, which are, this is a character whose parents were killed, and so he decided to get revenge for the death of his parents. This is basically Batman. This is Sasuke Uchiha. Except here, there aren't as many details. The overall backstory of Jiren is that he was a young child. His family and friends were killed by evildoers. He wanted to become much stronger to take down said evildoer. Was taught by a mysterious martial arts master who may or may not be important. The evil villain came back, killed the rest of his friends, and he decided to devote the rest of his life to becoming stronger by cutting himself off from everything and basically becoming a singular entity of pure strength. If he ever completed his mission in actually defeating this villain is still completely unknown, and might be the best thing to actually take away from Jiren's backstory. More on that in just a little bit, but really, my overall thoughts on Jiren's backstory is just that I'm extremely disappointed. We do have a cliche backstory of wanting to get revenge for the death of people, and now an excuse to get those Super Dragon Balls. Either he's going to wish his friends back, or he is going to wish for the ultimate strength to never lose and to take down all of villainy. But we don't know how he got this strength in the first place. It's still a complete mystery. Did the dude go to the gym? Did he do the Saitama exercises? I mean, really, what made Jiren so powerful in the first place? We've seen no evidence to show how he got this strong. The only thing that's implied is that he was taught to fight by some sort of martial arts master who, again, goes unnamed and doesn't really seem to have much of a presence outside of being a green alien with a pretty slick-looking bushy beard. But still, there's not really anything there. I mean, you could try and say that the other characters did that too, but I mean, look at Goku. Look at all of the growth that he has gotten from the series. Seeing him as a little pipsqueak Saiyan, eventually learning how to use the Kaioken, and and then eventually becoming a god himself. We have seen his struggle throughout the entire series, and it was never just simply handed to him. His battles were always intense, always at the edge. He never completely was able to one-up his opponents. Even when it seemed like he did, his enemies would come back with something amazing. But Jiren has been completely different. He has just been this unstoppable force. Nothing can come close to his power. And ultimately, that's made him kind of boring. I mean, I'm still riding the hype train of Jiren, just the fact that there is a character in the Dragon Ball universe with this much strength. It sort of creates a brand new ceiling for our characters to crash through eventually. I just don't know if it's going to be that exciting if, you know, Jiren's backstory isn't all that interesting. Now, like I said, a lot of the times, these fighters just don't get a lot of backstories, especially in the tournament arcs of Dragon Ball. I mean, really in the first half of the series, where we got to see a lot of the Budokai Tenkaichi tournaments, we did get some minor backstories on some of the fighters and some motivations. But here, I think it's a case of too little too late. It just didn't work. And the general consensus that I've gotten from a lot of the fan base is that they just do not care for this backstory at all. It just comes out of nowhere, it's told incredibly fast, and it's very, very cliche. I just wanted a little bit more from this character. I don't know, maybe my expectations were a little too high, but, you know, just to make my point even clearer, which there really isn't much of a point, this is me ranting at this point, look at the character of Broly. Super popular character in the Dragon Ball fandom. Basically, he's just known for being a giant brute who's incredibly powerful, but at least he has an interesting mythos. There's something to his backstory that's interesting. He has a connection to Goku. He's one of the surviving Saiyans of an almost extinct race. That alone gives him something to work with. Jiren's just some alien whose parents died and he's angry and he becomes Batman. Like, there's not much more to it. And the fact that the entire backstory is told within the span of basically just a couple of minutes, man, I was disappointed. I have to admit, I was watching this episode with some friends, and while I was really digging all of the action that was just exploding off of the screen, the minute that Jiren backstory started, I, like, squealed with glee. I'm like, oh, here it is. We're finally going to get to learn the motivation of the superpowered alien. And there's not really anything there at the end of the day. Nothing of any meaty substance, so that leaves me pretty disappointed. There could be more. There is the opportunity for Jiren to become a much more layered character as the series begins to develop, but who knows? If he loses, his entire universe is going to be erased, so bye-bye Jiren. That is, of course, unless Goku decides to wish for all of the universes to be returned, but that all remains to be seen. I almost kind of wish if I could go back in time, I would swap Jiren with Hit. Like, I would have introduced Jiren as the ultimate fighter of Universe 6. Just a big, buff, super alien dude. Just an obstacle for our friends to tackle, especially with their brand new Super Saiyan Blue abilities. I would have had Hit be the Penyu Ultimate, or the ultimate fighter of the Tournament of Power, the final opponent. Mostly because Hit is just a lot cooler in so many senses. His backstory, while not being that deep, is easy to gauge. He's a very silent and dark hitman. You can imagine a lot of what has happened in his past, but more importantly, he has a unique moveset. He has a fighting style which we've never seen in the entire series, and even manages to push our characters to actually evolve themselves. Jiren is doing the same thing with Ultra Instinct, and while Ultra Instinct is really cool, Jiren himself is just kind of boring, to say the least. I'm kind of hoping that we'll get some sort of transformation sequence from the character, or maybe something akin to what Topo did when he became a God of Destruction and utilized that power. As it is, he's basically just Arnold Schwarzenegger alien wearing a red jumpsuit, and there's really just not that much more to the character. I'm really hoping that as the series goes on, they'll make me care about Jiren just a little bit more. As it stands, I don't hate him, but he's probably one of my least favorite adversaries from the entire Dragon Ball franchise, and considering this is kind of like the climax of Dragon Ball Super, or at least what we know it as at the moment, that's kind of disappointing. If there's still one thing to look forward to, it's that we're going to get some really cool action scenes out of Jiren, and we're going to get to see Goku do some pretty amazing stuff. But who knows? We're very close to the end of Dragon Ball Super, but maybe Jiren could surprise us. Maybe there could be something more here, and more importantly, my personal theory is that Jiren might have simply just been a plot device, which ultimately will make the Tournament of Power seem a little meaningless at the end of the day, but I feel like there is something to this villain which is introduced. This villain which killed Jiren's parents, who we never ever see. They make sure to keep them shrouded, they don't give them a name, they don't even give them a specific title outside of villain or evildoer, which is ridiculous and hilarious, but I do love it. Now, for a character to be this strong and not be toppled by Jiren, this could be something really special, and we could be seeing the return of this evildoer villain, which, considering how strong he is, would make a great adversary for Goku and his friends. If that's going to happen is kind of unsure, but still, at least something interesting could come of it, and maybe we could learn a little bit more about his martial arts master, because inquiring minds want to know. I mean, who doesn't want to know about the guy who taught Jiren how to fight? There could be a secret there to how he became so strong, but for what we have now, it just leaves me kind of wanting. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Jiren. Maybe I was hoping for a little bit more, and everything we got was just kind of meh. But still, there is potential for the future, and if anything, like I said, we'll get some cool action scenes. Really, though, I'm just trying to say that I am disappointed in Jiren's backstory, and in my personal opinion, right now, his backstory and his entire past just kinda sucks. Entertaining character, just very flawed in how they've been executing him in certain ways, but let's just see how the end of Dragon Ball Super is going to go. That being said, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'd love to hear your thoughts about Jiren and his entire backstory. Did you like it? Were you satisfied? Do you want more? Do you need less? What do you hope this leads to for the future of the Dragon Ball series? Do you think that villain is going to return? Do you think there's some significance to his martial arts master? Basically, just give me all of your thoughts about Jiren's backstory in the comments section below, and let's keep this discussion going until the very end of this awesome anime series. So thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope to do more discussion videos like this in the future. If you like them, please give me your topic ideas in the comment section, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more Dragon Ball Super videos, as well as a ton of other anime reviews. I will see you guys next time. And as always, stay down there, baby.